When it comes to literary fantasy, few works have left as profound an impact as J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Its influence on modern fantasy is undeniable, and the series is often considered the benchmark against which other works are measured. If we're counting comparable series, a few notable ones come to mind. George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time, C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, and Frank Herbert's Dune. Today, I want to compare and contrast two of the most iconic fantasy franchises ever, The Lord of the Rings and Dune, examining their stories, themes, and enduring legacies. The Lord of the Rings follows the epic quest to destroy the One Ring created by the Dark Lord Sauron to dominate all free peoples of Middle-earth. Central to the story are the hobbits, Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, accompanied by allies including Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Their journey takes them from the peaceful Shire to the volcanic fires of Mount Doom, confronting external threats from Sauron's forces and internal struggles with the ring's corrupting influence. Alongside harrowing battles, the narrative explores loyalty, courage, and the moral strength required to resist temptation. First published in 3 volumes between 1954 and 1955, Tolkien's work draws inspiration from myth, philology, and his experiences during World War I. The novels are renowned for their meticulous world-building, rich languages, and the depth of their moral universe. Tolkien's Middle-earth is clearly defined, good and evil are distinct, and heroes like Frodo are driven by moral responsibility, guided by a sense of providence and destiny. Frodo himself evolves from an innocent hobbit into a figure marked by courage, selflessness, and tragedy. Scholars like Tim Shippey linked him to Norse myths, highlighting his role as a peacemaker and a symbol of moral wisdom. Even when the ring's power tempts him, Frodo remains fundamentally aligned with the greater good, embodying Tolkien's Christian-informed values of sacrifice and resilience. Frank Herbert's Dune, first published in 1965, offers a very different kind of epic. Set thousands of years in the future, humanity has colonized distant planets, governed by a feudal empire and powerful factions competing for control over Arrakis, the desert planet that provides the spice melange. The spice is essential for interstellar travel and heightened mental abilities, making Arrakis the universe's most strategically valuable planet. The story begins with Duke Leto Atreides' appointment to govern Arrakis, leading to the rise of his son, Paul Atreides, and the complex political, religious, and ecological challenges he faces. The saga explores themes of power, prophecy, and the consequences of human ambition. Unlike Tolkien's clear-cut moral universe, Herbert paints a world in shades of gray. Loyalty, betrayal, and morality are intertwined, and the outcomes of characters' decisions often carry unintended, far-reaching consequences. Interestingly, Tolkien himself expressed distaste for Dune. In a 1966 letter to John Bush, he wrote, quote, "In fact, I dislike Dune with some intensity, and in that unfortunate case, it is much the best and fairest to another author to keep silent and refuse to comment," end quote. While he didn't elaborate, some speculate Tolkien may have been unsettled by Herbert's portrayal of Paul Atreides as a messianic figure, which conflicted with Tolkien's Catholic worldview and his focus on providence rather than human-directed destiny. Another point of contrast lies in historical context. Tolkien served in World War I, a conflict often viewed in stark moral terms, good versus evil. Herbert, coming of age during World War II, witnessed a more morally ambiguous world. Alliances with morally questionable regimes, atrocities committed by multiple nations, and the complex ethics of war, including nuclear warfare. This may help explain why Tolkien's moral framework is largely binary, whereas Herbert revels in moral ambiguity and the unpredictable consequences of human action. If you've made it this far and are enjoying what you've seen and heard, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Frodo Baggins and Paul Atreides serve as central figures in their respective narratives, but they are fundamentally different in temperament, goals, and moral context. Frodo's journey is deeply personal and spiritual. He embodies courage, selflessness, and the struggle to resist corruption. His heroism is quiet but profound. He does not seek power or glory, yet his choices shape the fate of Middle-earth. He grows through suffering, guided by Gandalf's wisdom and what the narrative presents as providential design. By the end, Frodo emerges victorious, yet irrevocably changed. a testament to the cost of moral courage. Paul Atreides, in contrast, is portrayed as a reluctant messiah whose rise to power carries profound consequences. Denis Villeneuve's recent Dune adaptations emphasize Paul's inner conflict. He is torn between duty, prophecy, and the darker potential for violence inherent in the Fremen jihad he will unleash. Unlike Frodo, Paul's heroism is ambivalent. His ascent to godlike authority highlights the perils of power and the unintended consequences of one man's choice on a vast interplanetary scale. As critics note, Paul is best understood as a tragic anti-hero. He achieves dominance, but at the cost of immense suffering and moral compromise. Despite these differences, there are striking similarities between The Lord of the Rings and Dune. Both are epic tales of struggle, featuring richly imagined worlds with detailed cultures, languages, and political systems. Both examine the tensions between destiny and free will, though Tolkien leans more on providence, while Herbert emphasizes choice within a morally ambiguous universe. Middle-earth combines myth, magic, and medieval realism, populated by elves, dwarves, and hobbits. Arrakis offers a futuristic, technologically advanced setting with feudal politics, ecological challenges, and religious systems. Both worlds test their protagonists with nearly impossible quests. Frodo against the Ring, Paul against political and prophetic forces. Each hero's journey involves personal growth, confrontation with moral dilemmas, and the shaping of history through decisive action. Yet the resolutions diverge sharply. Frodo's victory is bittersweet. He succeeds in his quest, but is left emotionally and spiritually scarred, representing the personal cost of heroism. Paul's narrative, while also tragic, demonstrates the complex, sometimes morally ambiguous consequences of leadership on a grand scale, where the triumph of one can lead to catastrophe for many. The Lord of the Rings and Dune have each had profound cultural and cinematic impacts. Tolkien's work laid the foundation for modern high fantasy, inspiring countless novels, films, and games. Peter Jackson's film adaptations solidified the series' status as a cultural touchstone, combining epic storytelling with groundbreaking cinematic techniques. Herbert's Dune, meanwhile, is frequently cited as science fiction's greatest epic. Recent adaptations by Denis Villeneuve have reinvigorated interest, showcasing the story's relevance and cinematic potential. While it may not carry the same mainstream affection as Tolkien's saga, Dune occupies a similar niche for modern audiences, blending philosophical inquiry, political intrigue, and epic spectacle. Both sagas continue to inspire creators across mediums, with their intricate world-building, moral exploration, and compelling protagonists serving as templates for storytelling in fantasy and science fiction. They demonstrate that epic narratives can tackle complex themes, whether through the moral clarity of Middle-earth or the morally gray universe of Arrakis. While The Lord of the Rings and Dune differ in tone, setting, and moral framework, they share core elements of epic storytelling, richly imagined worlds, complex characters, and high-stakes quests. Frodo's quiet heroism contrasts with Paul's tragic, messianic rise, yet both characters embody the challenges of leadership, responsibility, and moral choice. Tolkien emphasizes providence and clear moral dichotomies, while Herbert explores ambiguity and the consequences of human action. For fans of fantasy, both series offer invaluable experiences. The Lord of the Rings remains a timeless tale of courage and sacrifice, while Dune challenges readers to consider the consequences of power and prophecy. Although the Dune films may never capture the same mainstream affection as Peter Jackson's adaptations, they are poised to become generational touchstones in their own right, offering audiences an epic experience comparable in scope and ambition. Whether your preference is for Tolkien's mythic, morally grounded world or Herbert's intricately political and philosophical universe, both have earned their places as pillars of fantasy literature and cinema, inspiring generations of readers and viewers to explore worlds beyond imagination. Let me know if you're a Dune fan or a Lord of the Rings fan, or maybe both, and what you think of my analysis down in the comments section. This has been 3PC, Past Present Pop Culture. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.